Good evening, gamers. Happy Friday, friends, and get out of our game enters because it's time for some Risen Draft League here on Friday night. I'm here at Charm Earth with my buddy. Introduce yourself.
My name's Typhoon.
And we got Wookie behind the scenes. Before we go any further, please take a minute, open the tab, and check out risenstats.com. It has some really cool stuff. Open up the snipping tool, get ready to copy pasta, and drop the thing into the Discord. There's a lot of stuff to brag, a lot of stuff to hide. Definitely worth the checkout. But without further ado, we have two teams playing tonight. Double B's rejects and we have too many cheeseburgers. Um, Typhoon, first and foremost, what name do you like better?
I mean, the too many cheeseburgers. I'm not exactly a small person, so I do enjoy my eating. So the cheeseburger is gonna, you know, definitely be my favorite here for this one.
And second, is there a team with players or with champions that caught your eye while you were scanning through op.gg's? And if you weren't scanning that through op.gg's, let's chat about it now.
All right. Nothing particular really caught my eye directly, but it's not out of the question for anyone to just have a pop off game and just perform and carry their team to a victory. So it'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see who can perform here.
All
Well,
right. Well, let's I want to keep an eye out for Ubis and Panda Boat on the bot lane with Fangus in the top lane. Fangus, I know personally can pull out kind of any either carry to tank style champion. Looking at Ubis right now, he has like a weird amount of Anivia games, which please, if you're listening here and now, pull out the Anivia. Panda Boat, I don't know what you have going on with Jarvan. I know Panda played jungle in past Risen seasons, so maybe that's just the Jarvan is popping up from playing jungle still with the homies or in ranked, but right behind the Jarvan, there's a lot of Blitzcrank, there's a lot of Pantheon, there's a lot of Maokai. Uh, all of those are flexible champions either to the jungle or support. Which of those sound the scariest to you? If what role do you play, Typhoon? Talk to me.
well, I was a top lane main, but I've recently switched to support for my own competitive team. So, looking at that bot lane, the support champions that are up on that tier list, all really hard engaged, really volatile, high pressure lanes. It's very exciting to watch in what's been a bot meta for probably close to 2 years now. It's going to be fun to watch how they can capitalize on picking some aggressive bot lanes and trying to snowball through there.
That makes sense. So right now, today, if it was a game 5 situation and you had to first pick as support sometimes have to do, do you get
Mm.
last pick or first pick on your team?
I usually end up with the first pick.
Okay,
So
so do you go Enchanter or you go Engage?
I'll probably opt for engage, but sometimes you gotta fall back around that enchanter.
All right.
I'd look personally if I for example if I was Panda Boat, I'd be looking right at that Blitzcrank and also the Nautilus. It's very high value champions that can get a lot of CC off in a fight regardless. So
Cool. And obviously with that the Nautilus option, the point and click CC is uh priceless in Draft League where you might have a silver or gold teammate, and then you might have a diamond or even masters teammate. So if one of these super high ranking players starts popping off to have that point and click CC, talk to me.
yeah, it's that guarantee that's very popular. What makes the champion very reliable and a very high priority for a lot of players. It does really well into high mobility, which a lot of players, especially on the lower end of the ladder, struggle with. So it's a very reliable pick. So it wouldn't be a surprise if it came out here.
And here we go with our first blue pick lock. This can't possibly be true. This is a meme for the hover. If you're gonna hover something and tickle some fancies, can you please hover Malcolm Graves? That's the only thing I really personally care about. But I do like the Quinn hover. We can. There it goes. Probably lock in the echo. Cool. Um, they definitely had some insight. They don't want to mess around potentially with the Jarvan. We know how dangerous that can be in the jungle right now. In response to the Echo, Okay, clearly someone's listening to the cast. Clearly what Typhoon, thoughts? Malcolm
I
Graves?
think that Echo could it's gonna be it could go flex between the mid and the jungle, of course, so it does leave a little, up for debate on what to pick. They're gonna go Ziggs in response, which is yet another flex pick between the mid and bot. So right now, both teams are kind of keeping their options open on where they wanna put their picks. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, and I obviously the Ziggs call out on the flex is great. I really like seeing Ziggs always paired with another champion that can really siege effectively, potentially the Tristana, and most importantly, when you do have the Ziggs, I really like seeing the objective control on the Rift Herald. If you can snag that Rift Herald and pair that with the Ziggs early, first tower is definitely going down. By the time Heraldine spawns, there's potential for even second or third tier tower if the game is snowballing at that point. So we'll keep that in mind as we go along. Maokai is a great jungle to take over those neutral objectives as well. A
The
lot of
Malzahar
AP so
pick
far.
is
Yeah,
gonna very very much AP, and that's probably going to almost guarantee that Echo is going into jungle.
touche.
Um, there's I'm sure there's a few people out there that like to play like Malzahar in the bot lane or Echo top lane still, or but realistically it'll probably be that Echo Malzahar mid jungle. They have a lot of kill pressure level 6 with the Malzahar guaranteed lockdown, the Echo high level burst. So it'll be very interesting to see if they can play around that and try to snowball that role because Malzahar, while ahead, feels really, really bad to play against.
Yeah, and one of the things I think is the most effective in team play, especially maybe at not the highest level, or especially in team play where you maybe haven't playing don't play that don't play together that often, is finding champions that can start layering that CC on top of each other. Where uh, if your timing as a team isn't pristine or isn't where it could be or should be or you would want it to be, it doesn't really matter if you're starting to layer that CC, the Echo, the Malzahar, the Jin route from all the way downtown. Like we're developing pieces to make sure people don't leave. And the same could be said to an extent on the other side, the Cheeseburger Boys, if I may.
Yes, and Ziggs is going to be looking towards the bot lane with that Aurelion Soul lock in here as we go into the second phase of bans. The Nautilus getting banned out, as I said earlier, it's a very, very stable pick to play. I don't know if it's the right ban given it doesn't really like to be paired with a Ziggs where you want to get more siege potential through maybe a Zerath or a Zyra where you can keep the pressure up and take down plating, but it's still a respect ban going over. And the the Maokai is still a potential flex pick on the table for cheeseburgers as he can be flexed into that support role, jungle, even top lanes. But with a Viego lock in, it's likely going to be going down to the bot lane here to the support role.
Yeah, and honestly, our co-casting is impeccable because as you were stalling there, I was pulling up the op.gg, and Swollen does have a handful of Maokai games. I can't definitively say if that was in the top role or the support role. Looks like those are his two mains. But he definitely has some Maokai games here. Not the worst KDA, 10 games. He's definitely bringing it to the table. And the best part about that is you're really able to use the seedling, if you're able to use the seedlings effectively and double up the warding opportunities, you can really leave the cheeseburger boys down on an island by having extra vision, for any gank potential coming down.
The
Not
Ornn
the
gonna
worst.
come out for top lane again here. That's another champion that we were talking about stable lanes, stable, pretty reliable champions. Whereas Ornn, he's just that champ. You could just throw him in top lane, leave him alone for 20 minutes, come back, and you have a bunch of upgraded items. You have a huge front line, good engage. So I think that's a really smart pick, especially when you're potentially going blind into top lane, such a high counter pick role as of recently. So I think that's going to be good. And pairing it out to round out with a Rakan is going to give them all the engage they need. And we're
Yeah.
going to get a
Ooh,
Vayne. So we've got a
what
little bit of an
is
interesting
happening?
one here on a
Ew.
potential mage top lane or a solo lane Vayne.
the Vayne into the Ornn against the Fangoose. Now, Divis is an Emerald 2 player to Fangus's Plat 2. Fangus is kind of known as Fangu 5. Fangus is kind of known as this like anchor top lane tank player. So that could be an interesting angle to whip out the Vayne into that. It'll be interesting to see where we lock these roles. Let me see if we have any Maokai in the top here. Oh, Divis. Our boy Divis seems to be an ADC. He's got a lot of Ezreal, Vayne, Jhin, Zig. So maybe seeing the Ornn was exactly what he was looking for in the draft. They were already picking a lot of AP early to potentially open up the opportunity for an AD top. There's a world where we can check out this team's past matches and see if this is something they were doing before, but definitely seeming like a conversation they were having to prepare for the final pick. What do you think?
I think the Vayne in the top lane is it'd be a very good pick into the Ornn, but it looks like they're gonna lock the Aurelion Soul for the top lane, which I
Ooh.
think is a pretty spicy pick, but I can see a world where it works. You can kind of just it's one of those champions similar to Ornn where you just let it farm, scale up, and it becomes a very, very solid team fighter in the late game. So definitely thinking outside the box with their response to the top lane picks and the flex picks they had available to them. I think it's going to be a very interesting approach that they have to take from the Double B's rejects because they need to find a way to shut down that Aurelion Soul while still pushing their Echo carry jungle into a position to potentially carry the game. And that's going to be Vayne mid lane.
Oh.
So we're getting really spicy draft here from CheeseBurgers. We got Vayne mid lane, Aurelion top. Means we're going to get Ziggs bot lane and Maokai support most likely.
Twitch chat, if you're listening, please put cheers in chat because if you're not playing, if you're not casting, you should be drinking a drink of whatever you have in front of you because we're about to have a Vayne mid Aurelion. I'm not quite sure. Do you dodge this ranked game? Do you dodge this game?
If I'm on CheeseBurgers team, I'd be dodging that. That's worrying. But
Let's play some League, boys. Here we go. This is
that's
fun.
that's that's not Caps playing Vayne. That makes it a little more worrying, especially into a Malzahar. You would think Malzahar would have a solid lane against, especially a scaling AD carry like Vayne with a pretty limited wave clear.
All
So
right,
Malzahar will have perma prio. Be interesting.
true. Let's talk. Holy macaroni. Let's talk things in a vacuum here. And by things in a vacuum, I'm talking, I'll tell you, my dog just so desperately wants to sit on my lap. Let's talk role. We'll talk rank, and let's talk about just matchups in a vacuum. You know, top lane, bot lane, duo, mid lane. Okay.
All right.
So, Divis. You know what? Let's leave names out. Let's leave names out. That'll make it exciting, right? You don't have op.gg open, do you? Here we go.
Uh,
Do you
I'll keep it
want
closed.
the Emerald 4 and the Silver 1, or do you want the Diamond 4 and the Gold 3?
Um, in a vacuum, I mean, I would take the diamond and gold player, of course.
The
But I think
Diamond and the
role is a
Gold
pretty.
player.
I
All
think
right,
role
so
is important. What role they're playing as well.
you're taking the Jin Rakan, okay? Okay. Now, would you rather, here we go, you ready? Would you rather, oh my God, we have the spiciest game in Risen right now. So our top lane matchup is the Aurelion Soul Diamond player versus the all-time recognized top lane tank of Risen Draft League, Fangu 5, on his like arguably most notable champion, Ornn, Spice. Now in the jungle, we do have Church of Rango, who I know uh, uh, was a notable jungler and went pretty far in the playoffs last season. He's a career plat player against our career like silver jungler on Viego. So I know what you're thinking. You're like, I want the plat. I want the plat Echo. Do you want the plat Echo or the silver Viego? Talk to me.
I think given the champions they're on, I would probably prefer the Plat Echo. But if this, if the Viego was the Maokai, for example, or something like I said, Sejuani, something a little more stable, a little more guaranteed value, a little less, need to get ahead, I'd probably take that either way against the Echo. But in the carry versus carry matchup, I would definitely take the Plat Echo.
All right, I like it. Malzahar Vayne right now. Malzahar Vayne.
I have
Twitch chat.
no
Malzahar
idea.
Vayne.
I would assume Malzahar would hard win that lane pretty early, but I think Vayne will definitely be more valuable late game if they can get there.
All right, let me write some of
That's a
this
tough
down.
one.
Hold on. Does Ziggs take first tower? Yes or no?
I believe so. I mean, a lot of the lanes outside of bot lane have very scaling qualities as well as like very little damage to. So unless there's a big focus from Rift Herald, elsewhere I think Ziggs will probably likely end up in first tower.
All right. And Typhoon, we're gonna take a few minute break here, but when we get back, I'm gonna hit you with some more like quick fire questions to get an idea of what we're looking at. We'll review these questions as the game is going. Ziggs first tower, yes. Malzahar late, but Malzahar potentially late, but maybe Vayne late. You know what? I'm gonna give you a 50-50 on that one. I didn't. Do you want to lock something in now? Malzahar or Vayne?
I'll lock in the Vayne.
Okay, cool. And let's take a break and do not leave. Hit like or hit subscribe. Check out RisenStats.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Twitch chat. Welcome back, ladies. Welcome back, gentlemen. Welcome back, Typhoon. And welcome back, Wookie Monster. Here we are between Double B's Rejects and the Cheeseburger Boys. My name, not theirs. I just think sounds cool. Typhoon, do you like that better or worse than their real name?
Um. Well, I mean, I'm gonna have to. I like theirs better. I think. Just
Okay,
I'm just
that's
like I
fair.
said before. I'm a bigger person.
Respectable.
I like to eat, so.
Yeah, I like the Cheeseburger Boys.
I
How about
do like
cheeseburger,
cheeseburgers, so.
bacon cheeseburger boys? Shoot. You know what my first team name was? It was Mike Tyson Eats Yordles.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, and I photoshopped an image of Mike Tyson eating a Yordle before every game,
Was it a different Yordle every game?
and it was a different image of Mike Tyson every game.
The high effort is what matters.
Yeah,
That's what counts.
our team did not win very much, but we
It's
were
fine though.
friends.
It's fine though.
Yeah, we were good friends. So, for the record, Vayne is top against the Ornn, as previously predicted, with the Aurelion Soul Den going to the mid against Sloth EMP. will be a good matchup. A little bit more normalized, kind of what we expected. However, unless I have a spectator bug, it seems like Fangu shied away from something called Flash and went for... Oh, he has a Unsealed Spellbook. Okay, he has the exhaust. Okay. There we go. Nothing crazy. Typhoon, you want to go over some runes and any choices there?
I think the Unsealed Spellbook's a very interesting choice. Typically, you know, you're gonna get something more Grasp or Aftershock style. But I think Unsealed Spellbook is definitely a great choice to get a little more value out of your rune page and what's going to be a really, really difficult lane. The
Yeah,
Vayne is
I actually like
probably going
that
to
card.
have good zoning, should be able to push waves pretty safely given range versus melee matchups. So I think the Spellbook to get a little more value is definitely a good option.
So, ooh,
Looks like we're going to get a W in from the Panda Boat for Flash, and that gank from Echo. Swollen's going to get locked up by the Echo stun, and that's going to be first blood over to Church of Rango on the Echo, getting ahead really early on that bot lane at level 3.
yeah, holy macaroni. That was a good start to the game. And I mean, for a traditional bot lane like Jhin and Rakan, could you ask for anything more? Like Ziggs will have the potential wave clear, but might be a little backed into the tower after that one.
I think especially with the Jhin as well, as Jhin is very strong right now on the patch. Like Jhin is skyrocketed in priority. So I think getting an early kill down into the bot lane, yes, it goes to the Echo, so it doesn't get as much value, but it's still getting, you know, lane priority, giving you an assist as well. I think that they're going to be very happy, DBR, to get that first blood.
And just so for the record, too many cheeseburgers is 1-2 to Double B's rejects 0-3. Every team makes playoffs with some teams getting.
Looks
Ooh,
like
here
we're
we
going to get a
go.
gank here from Echo.
The exhaust
Violinist
goes down.
sidesteps the stun. There's going to be an exhaust down as well, and Violinist is going to walk out through bot lane, only having to burn the ghost.
See, I'm glad you said the word only there because the only is pretty important when your lane opponent has the unsealed spellbook.
Holding
Where go ahead.
holding the flash on a marksman champion against
True.
an Echo or even the Rakan is a pretty valuable tool to have, especially in those early levels when you can't just
100%. And
1v
especially with
1v1.
seeing Pandaboat roaming already at the 4-minute mark. So here we go. Ubis ready to receive this shove into the bot. Pandaboat will get back down there just in time.
They're gonna get a very big wave stacked up on that bot
Yeah.
tower.
Wait a second here. Echo may be ready to pay another visit. All right. Well, we're coming about the 5-minute mark. No substantial CS leads anywhere. Churcharango, or is this chicken? Is that a permanent sub replacement? So this is a name change. Let me check. Let me check. Churcharango, is this his other account? Or maybe he's sub. Maybe this is a sub. Let me double check while the action is occurring. And until that happens, so if you're Echo, right? Are you playing to not let these Rift Heralds go over?
I think it's gonna be somewhat difficult to kind of play. Ooh, excuse me. I think it's gonna be somewhat difficult to play towards that top side, given the amount of wave clear and just safety that the bot has. That they can just pretty much shove the waves into the Jhin and Rakan without even thinking about it. So if the Echo spends a lot of time up there, they can get a huge plate lead with how fast they can take turrets, especially with that demolish on the Maokai. I don't think it's a bad idea to invest into topside because Ornn has a very good gank setup as soon as he hits level 6, especially against a champion as squishy as Vayne, where Echo can pretty much 100 to 0 on one rotation. So it's definitely a difficult decision to make, especially in the in game. But I think playing through either side is not a horrible idea.
You know, when push comes to shove, the Cheeseburger Boys comp is really intriguing in regards to a world where Viego does play it specifically towards the Heralds over the first couple of dragons, right? All hypothetically or all in a perfect world. And how could he play towards those Heralds? Well, he has the shoving top lane, right? And what can he do with that?
We've got
He
an alt
can,
here
oh
for
boy.
Malzahar in the mid lane. That's going to guarantee the stun for Echo, and they're just going to essentially one-shot Divis here on the Aurelion Soul, and Ornn's going to have to flash away from the Vayne here.
Yeah, wow.
But
Action.
big play here mid at Echo, getting things done early. Nosa picking up the wave here in mid lane. Swollen's going to engage now on the bot lane. Panda Boat is out 100 HP, but the Echo's here to bail him out. This could be another kill going over here to the bot side for DBR, and Dash is going to go down this time to Ubis on the Jhin. Naru on the Maokai is going to secure the second kill on bot lane. So both bot lane champions are dead here to DBR with the Echo gank. After he just immediately ganked mid lane, he ran straight to bot lane and got a double kill down there, one for the Jhin and one for himself. This is going to be a huge Echo to have to deal with.
An absolute problem across the board. 4 kills on the side of Double B's rejects, all for kills and all for kill death participation on the side of this Echo. An absolute menace, like you're saying. 5 stacks on the way to the Medjais at already almost 10 minutes. This man is going to be an absolute problem. We'll find out what he wants to do with this lead, if he's going to continue to just menacingly gank lanes or if he'll start taking objective control. It's looking like Viego is thinking he's thinking the Herald. It's finally time for the Herald. Kind of
He's
curious
undetected on that Herald.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious where he chooses to bring it. Does he bring it to the Ziggs, which maybe could use the bolster? Does he bring it to the Vayne, which maybe could use the bolster? It'll be interesting to see which direction he goes with this as Echo finally makes his way over to the Dragon and starts the trade over there. Looks like they'll be rooted out by Swollen on maybe a seedling on the Maokai.
I think Viego needs to take that Rift Herald into top lane and rely on that Vayne to carry, because I think it's going to be really difficult to get into bot lane now with how far ahead that bot lane duo is.
And it's a testament to what I started saying earlier. The Cheeseburger Boys, like, team comp is a really creative idea, and I really like it with the Ziggs.
We got potential
just
action here as Nos is going to face check Malzahar and get immediately suppressed, and that's going to effectively 100-0, and they're going to give the kill over to Chicken on the Echo. So that is a 4-0-1 Echo, 100% kill participation, and another successful Malzahar ult.
That's tough. That's just nobody in the game wanted that. That's just a tough situation there. But
Chicken
Nosa does have that. Yeah, we're going right back on it.
Stun out, and he is playing on all fronts of the map, and he's going to secure the kill on to the Aurelion Soul in mid lane. That is 2 down on the Aurelion now. The kill going to the Malzahar. So a huge swing, and this game is quickly escaping the
Dude, this man is an
CheeseBurgers.
absolute menace. You do not want to be... I would be very conscientious if I was even Malzahar, Ornn, Jhin, or Rakan. You might get killed by accident at this point. Look out bot lane. He might take out his teammate. Friendly fire is a potential, it's a potential outcome here.
The Viego is on the bot side, so if they do spot out this Echo, there could potentially be a 3v3, but it will most definitely heavily favor Double B's rejects because they are that far ahead. So we'll see if this comes of anything. The Ornn also was hovering that bot side, but he's going to TP back to top lane. So a lot of resources being invested for to protect that bot side while they push.
All right, let's finish this research on this jungler that these guys got. This man, Chicken. There we go. Chicken. OP.GG, a sub on the team. Let's see here. Has looks like a career diamond player. He has a season of plat 2. They ranked him as diamond 2. Okay.
There's 3 hovering that Aurelion Soul in the mid lane. Rakan and Echo hovering in that bottom brush. Divas being wary of it and staying back off the wave.
Here comes Viego. He is up a ton of CS. He has the Herald still in his pocket. Looking to probably... This one probably doesn't take tower. We'll get some plate gold over.
So as before, Viego is going to invest that gold into the Vayne, but the Vayne's not going to get any gold off of that plate, so it's only going to go into the pocket of Viego. And now there's a rotation coming up from the mid jungle of DVR. But Nosa and Biolinus are going to scope it out real quick and get themselves out of there.
Yeah, so I have a question. If you're on the side of TMC, you know what? If you're on the side of the Cheeseburger Boys, are you telling your teammates to just play slow? It's only 13 minutes. We can play slow until about another 10 minutes and be aggressive from there? Or are you telling them, let's start playing for objectives and see what happens?
I think you definitely sit back and try to scale up a little more. I mean, you have an Aurelion Soul, a Vayne, and a Zig, so you have a very, very strong late game, especially team fighting wise. So I think you just sit back, kind of scale up. You're gonna eventually outscale that Malzahar on the Aurelion Soul. And your Ziggs is going to outscale the Jhin, assuming the Jhin stops getting accelerated here, which so far so good on the mitigation. But we're going to get an ult here from Divas, and that's going to draw out the flash from the Malzahar.
Now, things going down around the dragon from the side of DBR. They're aware that the Cheeseburger Boys are kind of lingering. Now, the thing is, Echo clearly for the last dragon. He was there almost, he was there, like, clearly to go take that thing. So I would be conscious that he's there to take a Panda Boat.
Panda Boat's going to flash for dashes here in the bot lane, and that's going to be the charm, the knock up into the stun, and Chicken with another kill on that Echo is absolutely massive.
All over the map. He is 5 kills, 2 assists, 100% kill participation for the side of DBR on Friday Night Risen League. I'm telling you, you do not want that man to show up to your lane.
It's going to be another unfortunate loss because they're going to lose the dragon here off of this, and now the gold is going to swing even further. The timer is going to extend quickly decrease on how long they have until they have to fight over something and not just concede it.
Yeah, and with the Herald spawning, you want to be very careful with the snowball potential from the side of DBR here. Vayne looking to come down, maybe. Lend a hand on the situation that's occurring. Leaving the 2-on-1. And credit to Ubis on this Jhin, has been playing into the 2-on-1 Ziggs Maokai insanely well, allowing Panda to be all over the map on this Rakan. Angus.
It's going to be a pretty bad situation for Biolinus. As he's stuck in a corridor against an Ornn, that's a really rough spot to be. And even with the very little damage from an Ornn Rakan, they're going to force Biolinus out of lane. Nosa pretty much one shot by the Echo. Not going to get out. And the Ornn Pillar is going to section it off. Divas now in a bad spot, needs to get out. Stunned by the Echo. And that's going to be another kill for the Echo. So ultimately a terrible sequence of events here for Cheeseburgers. You get Biolinus, blows both summoners, and then has to flash out. But we got action on bot lane now with a Swollen throwing his ult and going in on that Jhin. I don't know if they'll have enough damage to burst him out, though.
I respect
Zig's
the
ult,
sense.
and no good. So Jhin will get out there.
I respect the sense of urgency, recognizing the current call goes down. Wow, that was outside of the range there. I don't Riot Games, please check on your hitboxes. But yeah, a testament to Ubis playing into the 2-on-1. As I said, as the fight was developing, it really allows Panda Boat to be all over the map as he jumped on top of Biolinist up there. in the tri-brush. Ubis is finding himself less than a wave behind on CS. The entirety of the game. Credit. So, where's your comeback mechanic? Talk to me.
I think it's gonna be very difficult to come back in this game. They're nearly 3,500 gold down. They've already conceded to 2 dragons with a third one spawning in 2.5 minutes. They really should not be fighting for this dragon here. That's going to be coming up at 1930. They don't have the scaling yet. I think you need to invest into getting that Zig to be more stable and start having a bit of side lane pressure, possibly coming and taking down one of these side lane turrets now that they have the bounties on them. I think the Vayne will be pretty stable now that she has the static Shiv, but it's gonna be very, very difficult.
Yeah, we have an absolute snowball on our hands, and it'll be interesting. Here we go, Nosa on top of Chicken.
Nosa. Chicken gonna immediately use the ult to get out, and Panda Boat goes back in, and nothing's gonna come of it. Ults traded for ults.
And arguably the most dangerous ult, held in the pocket of DBR with the Malzahar to hold you directly in place if you step out in the incorrect spot. But yeah, I was just going to say, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Oh, here we go.
Got a 1v1 starting off here in top lane. Violin is trying to run down Fangu on the Ornn. The Vayne starting to pump out damage a little bit here. This could be what they're looking for. You got a TP coming in from behind, and Viego also rotating up, and that's the solo kill for Violinist under the turret of Ornn. But now he's got to find a way to get out here. He has 3 members collapsing on him. The Malzahar, the Echo, and there it is. The Echo going to secure the kill on Violinist. But I think if you're CheeseBurgers, you definitely take that trade, because now you have Vayne with another kill to potentially snowball further. Yes, you die, but you also had the wave way crashed under turret, and it's kind of Bauce's law on that one.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. Like you said, Vayne needs everything that she can get at this point. It'll be interesting to see, like you said earlier, like you hope that they just give this dragon over. It'll be intriguing to see if Vayne wants to get involved and maybe snag another kill or two. I would be very, very scared of this Echo. Here we go. There's red pings going down. Looks like they're thinking about it, Typhoon.
It's going to be an interesting one because they're still missing that flash on their Vayne. The Vayne, or the Viego flash, will be coming up very, very soon, right before the fight here. But I think the crucial part of why they might have the opportunity to fight this is that you don't have the flash on the Jhin. So Swollen going to use the Maokai ult here onto Ubis. Zig's ult as well, but the Maokai is not going to lock him down, so they're going to get zoned out of the river now. They're going to look to march their way in. Ubis split off from the team, makes it really difficult to keep the range advantage on them. Divis bush holding in the bush to one-shot Ubis, and he does take him down here. Chicken rotates away from Dragon to go push mid lane, and he's going to get that mid tier too. Ornn ult coming out. It's going to hit the Aurelion, and the objective bound is going to be claimed by Nosa. And now CheeseBurgers is starting to turn it around here in this fight with a kill onto the Malzahar, as well as Panda Boat going down, and it looks like the Ornn is going to be stuck here. So CheeseBurgers comes in to win this fight, but Chicken is effectively ending the game in mid lane. There is a Nexus turret down from the Echo pushing mid. The team fights won, but the strongest member was not there to fight for it.
Typhoon,
they're going to rotate to Nash.
We're going right to Nash.
This is going to be a very, very interesting play. It's only the Ornn and the Echo in the area. Jhin rapidly running towards that Baron. It's a little bit risky. A 4-man knockup from Fangu, and that's going to give a kill over. And now the curtain call. Everyone is low here on CheeseBurgers. Fangu finally drops.
Oh my god, the shutdown.
Nosa is just getting resets on resets now, though, and they need to get out of there. What a series of events. This is definitely starting to become a game here as CheeseBurgers start to punch back. Baron stays alive, and we have a totally different game from 3 minutes ago.
I mean, there was a cup, and in that cup was gall. And honestly, the CheeseBurger boy said, screw the cup. Here's a bucket full of gall. And they sprinted up to the Nash and they made this game. It's an entirely different game, like you said. It's an entirely different game. However, this Nash is still sitting there, and based on what both teams showed they're willing to do, I'd be very conscientious on a North American style Nash start. The pings are going down, either to let the other team or let their teammates know it's the enemy's here, or to maybe even let them know let's take a walk. Let's take a walk.
CheeseBurgers are going to check this Baron and try to clear out Vision. A very interesting series of events. It'd be very interesting to see if they start this Baron with multiple members, in the area from each team. That would definitely result in another explosive team fight and potentially, a classic NA throw of the Baron. So could potentially swing this game heavily back into CheeseBurgers' favor. One of the big downfalls, though, is not having that mid lane prio pretty much for the next 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, and I
think
that inhib. Wow. I mean, all 8 players are still lingering around the Nash region, but like I really thought I was gonna say I think the fire is out, but I mean I'm about to start getting a fork and knife to my words.
Chicken's gonna walk up to Nosa, and there's a little bit of a skirmish here, 1v1. Chicken's gonna ult, the Maokai ult over the top to lock down Chicken, is going to knock him up, but here comes the Ornn Horn over the top, and Chicken's gonna walk out and eventually die to burn. And now it's looking very bad here for CheeseBurgers. D.Va's gonna flash a critical knockup from Panda Boat, and Ornn just kind of zoning it out while the rest of his team finishes off the Aurelion, and that is gonna potentially be that is going to be the Baron here. They're making the call for DBR, willing to compose themselves here, win a team fight in the jungle, only losing Chicken, and going straight to Baron.
And so 9 kills, 5 assists on the side of Chicken. That's 14 KP to his team's 15. He missed out on 1. Please report.
Dash is looking for something. Panda Bow 1 HP from the Baron. Ubis going to use his Jhin to zone out Dashes from potentially stealing this, and it might result in a solo kill for Ubis on the Jhin, and now he might be in a little trouble as Nosa and Swollen are here to show up. The Baron will be secured, though, here for the side of DBR, and Ubis will get out here and walk away, and all 5 members standing strong with Baron.
A nice Baron play by Double B's Rejects, the RisenStats.com Baron play presented to you by RisenStats.com, in which you'll be able to check that extra kill on the side of Ubis, the solo bolo. Good job, Ubis. That 4th shot is scary. RisenStats.com. Check it out. Tell your friends and your moms and your dads.
We're starting to have the Ornn upgrades come through. I would say this is going to be this game is starting to scale out of control in favor of DBR now that the Ornn items are also coming through. So that's a really, really strong, Infinity Edge here, and we're going to get another fight here. Chicken going to jump over the blue buff wall, and Nosa effectively going to get chunked out of the whole fight. But they're going to turn around and shut down the Echo. And it's going to go back in favor of CheeseBurgers here. A double kill. The Violinist is going to clean up the rest of that fight. And they just decided to fight in a choke point. I don't know if that's what you want to do when you're going into a Maokai Aurelion. Huge team right here. And that's going to net them effectively erasing 3 Barons and potentially shoving this mid lane in. They're going to disengage from it and not commit, but a huge one team fight here for CheeseBurgers.
And some really valuable insight from Twitch chat, Timeless Tinker himself, pointing out that the focus on, here we go. Okay,
Curtain's call, but Swollen's blocking it off, so they're just gonna, that's the,
wow.
Oh, a big shot to take down Dashes. That Jhin does damage.
Wow, okay.
Holy cow.
Somebody clip that. But yeah, a testament to, let's keep an eye on what these side lanes look like, because they're looking to be a non-focus on the side of both of these teams, So let's see it. Literally as DBR just shoves it down the mid yet again. So we'll keep an eye out on what top and bottom look like over the next about 5 to 6 minutes.
Divis going to fly forward, not seeing Chicken and Panda Boat, so it's going to be a little bit of a dangerous one. Throws the ult, but they're going to choose to back off and not commit to trying to get a pick on Divas potentially overstepping.
And Malzahar using the teleport effectively, actually, attacking a side lane here. Does have the teleport in pocket if they need it. Turret down.
Chicken gonna, and as well as Fangu gonna roam up to that top side to potentially start sieging this top turret now. Now that they've cleared every tier 1 turret off the map.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're not gonna commit, even with the Baron buff ending, so they're going to look to rotate back to this mid inhibitor, which has been left alone. There's 3 members of CheeseBurgers in top lane, and they're just sieging this inhib. Swollen going to throw the ult on the Maokai ult over the side. It's going to hit 2. Nosa stepping away from the stun from Echo, and not much is going to come of it apart from a few trades of spells here. 2 ults coming out. That's going to be from the Ziggs and the Maokai.
I like the angle and I like the idea of the nature's grasp there, but it was nobody else was ready to jump on it. Like nobody knew Swollen was coming from that angle. They did not have any idea. Like, yeah, the potential's there. Like one of these fights is going to be game breaking for one of these teams. Here we go. Look out! Chicken in
to the Swollen. Swollen going to get rooted by Jin from long range. A stun onto Chicken, but nothing's going to come of it as they continue to siege that bottom tier 2 turret. And now the Aurelion Soul ult is going to hit Panda Boat and Ubis, but nothing more is going to come of it apart from defending that tower. So the tier 2 stands as the CheeseBurgers continue to feel the pressure of that gold lead.
See what they do after this wave, if they commit to this little ambush that they sort of set up the first time. Kind of curious if they do.
Looks like they're going to give that tier 2 turret and get finished off here. Chicken looking to push the mid wave while the 4 members of DBR push that bot wave, and now Violinist going to be able to fend them off, and they're going to back off here and regroup.
Yeah, and we do have dragon spawning, another mountain dragon spawning in 2 minutes. So we know both. We know every single person that's watching at home, and you and I and Wookie himself, we all know what they're saying. This dragon is really, really important. It's
this dragon's gonna give it's gonna give very big prio on taking a Baron. So if that Baron's on the table and the soul is on the table for a team, it's gonna be a lot harder for the team without soul point to try to take that Baron.
Oh, anybody else? Did you freeze on your end?
I also froze.
Okay. Okay, I didn't see the pause screen. And we're back into action. I don't know. But however, so the thing is, we have Nash spawning. Both of these teams were like headstrong into forgetting smart macro and just like committing to just spamming down mid lane until one of the teams took Nash. So with Nash spawning literally a minute, a little less than a minute before this dragon, there's a world where we see a Baron attempt, a Baron fight, into a dragon take, into even a game-ending play. And I would be very, very careful if I was the CheeseBurger boys in forgetting that this Nash will not win them the game, but it potentially loses them the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes, it does, and I think you have to weigh the risk versus reward here as
and the pause goes down.
Pause is coming back again, but DBR, we're starting Baron here.
It's okay. So we do have an update from chat. It looks like the classic college ping slowdown. So we'll update you as we go along. Twitch chat, I am involved. So let me know what you think. Do you think DBR Double B's rejects are going to take this one home almost 2 times the kills of the CheeseBurger boys? And let me say their name correctly for once. Typhoon, if you have their team name out, by all means.
So I think
too many cheeseburgers.
Too many cheeseburgers, yes.
I like the CheeseBurger boys. I like the alliteration. Too many cheeseburgers is good. So
CheeseBurger boys is good alliteration. Yeah, I like that. I don't know. I still like too many cheeseburgers, but the alliteration point out, that's big.
Right. I want to talk about okay. So just an update to y'all at home. It looks like we are getting an attempt to get the game back in order. Someone was asking if we're ready. No updates since then. But as we wait, I do want to point out that Too Many Cheeseburgers does have one of those team comps that excels in allowing a team to start a neutral objective and walking over to them. And we're right back into the action.
Action's
Holy
back here.
macaroni.
So they're going to try to burn it down before Cheeseburgers can respond.
And maybe back
And
to another small pause. But that Okay. But that doesn't change the fact that we would be again eating our feet, eating our shoe, eating our words if we thought that playing slow and playing safe was the right idea. Because Too Many Cheeseburgers is assembling upriver, downriver, next to the river.
here they go. And the Baron is going to be secured here by DBR, but there's going to be a huge AoE from the Aurelion Soul ult, and they're going to commit to the fight. Ubis going to take one down. The Malzahar flashing out, but it's going to be a net win on kills here for Cheeseburgers, but that Baron is still going to go over, and another one picked up by Divas here on the Malzahar on the back end of the play. Two
God.
Baron buffs remain, and it's on that bot lane for DBR, and now Cheeseburgers has the priority to push waves here with 3 dead for over 30 seconds. A ton of standing gold. This could swing really heavily back in favor of Cheeseburgers here.
Yeah, and there's that Baron play right into the team fight, right into the dragon play as previously stated. And Too Many Cheeseburgers said, "Hey, we're not ready to lose this game yet. We've never were actually out of this game. We were down 6 kills to no kills. We were never out of this game." Did you see who we picked? We took Vayne, we took Soul, we took Ziggs, we took Viego. We meant to meet you guys around 35 minutes. I hope you were excited. Hot damn. Hot damn. We are here. So, game state. Just past 30 minutes. We have no neutral objective spawning. It's kind of stall and wait, maybe look for a pick. And readdress in about 2 minutes. Ooh, we found him.
Cancel Biolinus recall, and there's going to be a 1v1 in top lane between the Vayne and the Echo. Vayne looking to win it out so far. Echo with the ult, and Biolinus gonna dodge 2 shots. 3 shots dodged, and now there's 3 champions here fighting Biolinus. He's gonna get ignited, and Jin gonna get the shutdown. Very, very close play for Biolinus.
Biolinus, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, if you're a friend of Biolinus, bro, that was nuts. Respect, man. That shit, that stuff looked great. Did you think he was gonna pull it off? Was your face curling into a smile?
I thought he was getting the 1v1 on the Echo for sure.
Yeah. That was exciting. That's why you tell your team, pick me Vayne, right there. He showed the
DBR
potential.
gonna siege this top turret. The Aurelion Soul ult is only gonna hit the Jin with the stun. They're gonna clear that wave and protect it. This is gonna become very difficult when you're playing into a Jin Malzahar. It's really hard to hold up those turrets. But you also have the Aurelion Soul. Here comes the Call of the Forge God. It's gonna hit Divas and dashes. The Maokai ult in return, but it's not going to matter. You have the lockdown from Malzahar going to guarantee a kill. Nosa also on the way out. He's going to get killed by Pandabo on the W from the Rakan, and that's going to be a tower and a kill in exchange for most ults and a health bar from DBR.
Yeah, very
so they're going to have to disengage. But that's definitely a net win.
Recognizing that his team had to pull away during the Ziggs ult and decided to commit to that kill with the health bar to use as a resource on that situation. Good play. So we're right back. I mean, every time you and I discuss the Cheeseburger Boys are in the game and not ready to lose and ready to win is the moment that Double B's rejects start reminding us why they were up 6-0. Does that make sense?
It's a classic caster curse.
Yeah, true. However, let's see here. So 7, 9, yeah, it's like almost like that original 5-minute lead that the Double B's rejects took was never like surmountable. It'll be interesting. I would like to see the graph. because I bet you, I don't know, man. I'd be very nervous if I was Double B's rejects for the next fight or two. And with the Mountain Dragon spawning in 1 minute and 50 seconds, the Nash right behind it, uh, we're running out of time to figure out how to win the upcoming fight. That's just where we're at. We're running out of time.
I think if you're CheeseBurgers, you definitely want to look to take the Baron in exchange for that Dragon and give the Dragon, because you still have 3 turrets standing outside the base for DBR. So that's a lot of standing gold. 2 of them being tier 2s, of course, giving the bonus gold here. So there's a lot of standing gold to cut that deficit. But Swollen gonna send the Maokai ult out. It's only gonna land on Panda Boat. Here comes the Aurelion Soul, absolutely enormous. Gets the double knockup. That's gonna be 2 kills over to CheeseBurgers, and now Chicken finding himself in a precarious spot with 4 members standing on top of him. No ulti available, and Dash is going to collect that one. Divas, though, having to run away from Ubis on the backside. The Jhin being very fast champion, but Divas is going to escape. So a big Aurelion Soul ult here to knock up the Malzahar and company.
Violinist on this vein is showing Divis on this Aurelion Soul is showing exactly why they pick those champs, man. They are an absolute menace at 35 minutes into this match. Every single fight is something where if you're Double B's rejects, you have to be calling out where Vayne is, and then all of a sudden Soul shows up. Or you have to call out where Soul is, and all of a sudden Vayne is ulting and invisible and 3-shotting one of your carries. It's holy mac. Oh, man. The Chicken is not here for this Dragon spawn, which comes up in 7 seconds, but he will probably spawn and just beeline to the Nash, I'm guessing. So it'll be action-packed Baron Nash.
Is running towards Dragon out of base. Kind of a bold move considering the burn, but how fast you can burn it down with CheeseBurgers. But Aurelion's not there, so they're going to get an instant Ornn engage, and that's going to be Mountain Soul secured. Curtain call over the top, and Aurelion finally shows up. Fangu is going to get executed by the Divas E here, and now Violinist is going to pick up another on the Malzahar, so that's going to be 2 and a Dragon over to CheeseBurgers, and now they're really starting to feel the power of their scaling comp. This definitely could just turn into a Baron call here with a huge team fight for CheeseBurgers.
Oh, man. Interesting choice to try to get over there in time. Again, like, the team comp from CheeseBurgers is like so neutral objective, control oriented with the Maokai ult, with the Ziggs ult, with the Aurelion Soul AoE, that it was definitely a lot of gumption to sprint on over there if you're Echo. So here we go.
Get a Baron start, and I think if you're DBR, you kind of have to go for a steal here. You're starting to run out of options. Chicken looking to flank over the Krug's wall, 5,000 HP on Baron, 4,000. Chicken undetected over there, but they're hunting him down. He's going to go in, and the smite is going to go over. They're going to steal it. DBR is going to collect it. Violinist, though, not going to let stuff get away, and now everyone's on the run trying to hold on to this Baron. Chicken going to look to get the shield. Also going to stun, but it's not going to matter, so Chicken is going to get picked up here, and now a fight breaking out here on the top side after they take that tower. The ult from the Malzahar is going to hold that Vayne in place and pick up that shutdown, and there's very little DPS left here, but Divas is going to show up and try to get his team out of there. Swollen burning down on the backside, but Dash is going to go over to Fangu, and now it's Malzahar in a very precarious situation, but he's going to take down the Aurelion Soul and walk out. Nosa going to think twice before going in on that Malzahar. A huge fight breaking out that lasted very long time, and I think it's going to net positive here over to DBR because they still do maintain that one Malzahar Baron.
Knock my butt and call me Annie. I did not think this is what we were going to be casting when I agreed to it this afternoon. Twitch chat, what in Pete's sake is happening tonight? We're at 40 minutes, an absolute action-packed game. I think we were at a 6-0 lead. Was it anything more than that at any point?
I think it would have been 7-0 before the first kill was picked up on the other side.
Okay, yeah, so we were 7-0 on the side of blue, Double B's rejects before the Cheeseburger boys, too many cheeseburgers, managed to get those kills going. there wasn't any doubt in our mind with the scale potential, with the Vayne, with the Soul, with the Viego. Uh, but to see it to this degree and seeing it done this effectively it's just, I mean, it's fun. It's freaking fun. So here we go with another fight. There as we're positioning for another fight. We have two teleports on the side of Double B's rejects. So if they need to show up on a dime, not that anybody really needs to, but the Ornn is on the top side of the map, shoving the side lane, seemingly reading Twitch chat, recognizing that their side lanes need a little attention. Respect.
This will be a very interesting fight if one does break out here, because Fangu having that push on top side means someone might have to respond to that shortly here. But he'll also have the TP advantage to get to the fight earlier if they don't send the Ziggs
Here,
or Aurelion Soul. So this could be a very interesting and difficult macro decision to make here,
I
because
mean,
taking
it's going to
away
be
that
made worse.
Aurelion,
It's worse.
they're
They're setting up the 1-3-1. Oh, they're kind of pulling out of it now. What are we
This is an
thinking here, boys?
interesting play here. CheeseBurgers potentially was looking to make a pick on Fangu, I believe, and he just caught it out really early because they rotated 4 into topside, and he
Yeah,
was just not there.
I would have loved to hear the Discord chats at that point, who called it or who pinged it. There's not like that many wards on the side of Double B's rejects on the top side of the map there, so pretty some pretty effective wards by Cheeseburger Boys on actually all over the map. So the spidey senses must have been tingling for Mr. Fangu 5.
The big mark coming up here is that Elder spawning in a minute and a half. That's going to make it really, really difficult for either side to win a fight, given how much damage is on each side of the team now. Most of the carries hitting their full builds or close to it by that Elder fight, with Jin being full build with the Ornn upgrade, the Ziggs being just the Doran's Ring slot away from full build, Aurelion Soul at full build. There's going to be a Vayne at full build. There's a ton of damage on both sides, and that Elder will definitely likely be a deciding factor here for that little bit of extra execute.
Yeah, you better take a sip of water and take a deep breath, because this team fight is going to be an absolute action-packed rabble rouser of a fight here. I guarantee it. Also, I did think that, like, so much of the lead that Double B's rejects was riding. Oh my God, Violinist looking at Sloth Empire, charging him down. The Ziggs ult is down.
2 ults used here for the Malzahar. Is it going to be worth it? Here comes the Aurelion Soul ult. It's going to land on nobody on the initial. They will get Chicken's Flash and Panda Boat. So there's a lot of summoners blown here and a lot of valuable resources used. Violinist continuing the chase, though, and we're going to get that Ornn TP coming mid lane to stop that push. But that's going to make it a very, very easy Elder Dragon here on spawn for CheeseBurgers, and they're going to take the inhib as well.
Yeah, and with the Nash spawning in about a minute, that's a tremendous tool going into the. Here we go.
Here. They're gonna layer that CC really well onto the Vayne. Uba's gonna pick up the kill here on Vayne, and Swollen also in a bad spot. Chicken gonna collect that one, and now Divas needs to escape. One big thing here, though, is the Elder was just collected, so let's see if that can turn this fight here with the stopwatch to bring the team over. Uba's gonna just pump out damage. Dashes, though, now starting to put out some damage here with that Elder picking up 1 kill on it, and now it's gonna, unfortunately, Nosa is gonna be taken down to 1 HP with a Jin right on his tail. So a shutdown over to Ubis and a TP out. Is he gonna make it? And Dashes makes it out on the TP, almost 100-0 from Jin.
Yeah,
so
that root was used right before that. Go ahead.
The Elder is gonna be taken by CheeseBurgers, but it's not gonna matter because Dash is the only one with it. And this is gonna allow for the 4 members here of DBR that are still alive to push the base and take inhibitors.
Right,
One down here.
Vayne. We do have Maokai. Oh my gosh, we do have an Elder Dragon absolutely ripping Chicken apart. This could be an overstay if we're not careful. For Double B's rejects, as we shy away.
They're still hunting, though. Violinist and Swollen. Dashes from long range with the Ziggs, has bomb up. Root gonna land. and nobody's going to get hit by that Ziggs bomb. But Vayne now, Violinist with the flash to kill the Malzahar on a free pick on the what turned into an overstay. It looked like they started to respect it, but unfortunately that Vayne's cooldown reduction just allows her to just tumble every like 2 seconds. So he just runs down the Malzahar to get a man advantage here. And that takes off a pretty important ult
And I
for the
mean,
side with no Malzahar ult available.
yeah, like this, the complete control of objectives or the towers being down for double beast rejects is just so hard to overcome as we are setting up a quiet ambush onto the Nash. The Cheeseburger boys are starting it, going down about a quarter of health. Echo is sneaking around. Dash is arguably there to spot him out. He's almost caught in the pinch.
It looks like it's going to be a Baron secured here for CheeseBurgers. So now, can they capitalize on that take? Panda Boat going to get one-shot kill, goes to Nosa. Call of the Forge God already used, so there's not much re-engage here from the Ornn to potentially try to fight this back. This could be our game here. The Aurelion Soul ult's gonna miss both targets. Ubis gets one shot by Nosa. The Viego has quietly become a lethal champion here, and it looks like CheeseBurgers is gonna accept some of their rewards here and start to send some people back to spend if they need it. Aurelion Soul being the only one to complete the back so far, has TP, can rejoin to try to end here.
Man, pick
This
ban
game
next
is
game.
insanity.
Yeah, and it just makes pick ban next game even more exciting. You gotta imagine the Vayne is not going to be available. You gotta imagine the Echo's not going to be available. As we are
Here we
taking down
go.
a turret,
CheeseBurger's
oh
gonna ult. They
my.
take one turret down. Fangu gonna get caught out in the middle of all of it and is a very tanky champ, but is still 100 to 0 here. Panda Boat in too deep now. Also going to get killed. Violin is picking that one up. A stopwatch used while Malzahar gets killed on the backside. That's going to be the game here after a huge, hard-fought battle for CheeseBurgers. Going down 7-0 and 3.5k gold very early. Are going to pull it back to win game one with the Mountain Dragon stacking and the great macro decision-making here.
Twitch chat spam. We scale. We scale. We scale. Because holy mackerel, that's exactly what we just witnessed. 45 minutes, 46 and a half minutes on the dot. Damage completely overtaken on the side of the Vayne, closely tailed by the Aurelion Soul, with Jin following third overall. So, as I was saying, right as the final aspect of that game started taking over, you cannot let this Vayne over. You cannot let this Echo over. What else can you not let over, Typhoon? What can
I
you
think
not let over?
I think that Aurelion Soul is a very tough champion to let through draft now that it has that such a strong presence in team fights, especially when games go this late. And we saw clearly that Cheeseburgers is able to stall the games out and let their team scale. So I think it'll be a very difficult champion to also give over.
Yeah,
I think another one though that could be tough to let through is that Jin, because he was essentially just deleting champions whenever he had the opportunity.
that's true. Out of that list, so hmm, out of that list, I'm imagining Jin could let go. Just as reference, Cheeseburger Boys banned Annie, Victor, Caitlyn, and Double B's reject banned Yone, Rail, Jarvan. So seemingly on those first three, a lot of playable swaps available to get rid of some stuff. Is it worth banning the Vayne, knowing that that was the top lane pick last overall?
I think it's definitely a valuable ban. I think the one thing that might help them is now they have side selection, so they don't have to give over that R5 to hide the vein. But I think the level that it was piloted by Violinist just makes it really, really difficult to let it slide through regardless.
So and just player of the game in your mind. Obviously, we're not over. Just player of the match, not the match. Player of the game.
Player of that game, I would have to say, would be Violinist being a strong pillar in the mid game and not succumbing to giving away the leads that he individually earned. So I think that would definitely be a good reason why he deserves it.
So awesome. A game like that, it's and being that both of these teams don't have like overwhelming uh records, a game like that is a testament that we could go 3 games. Like either team could have won that from basically any point at 35 minutes kind of onward. I feel like if the Cheeseburger Boys didn't have such a effective wave clear, we might have even seen Double B's rejects end earlier. But I wanted to point out that so much of Double B's rejects lead was found on the play where they traded the Dragon for Echo calling the Herald in the mid. So much of the lead was found there, and it was interesting then to watch the DBR just run like, almost just run down mid to try and win through there, but that could have been a facilitating tool to help you get those side lanes at that point. Like, what do you think? Tell me what you're
I
thinking.
think it's definitely an interesting choice, definitely a risky call as it started the comeback for too many cheeseburgers. But I think the big flaw with that call is that the Echo was by far the strongest player in the lobby, like, and it wasn't even close at that point. So I think losing all that power, including the smite power for the dragon itself, makes it very, very hard to make that play when you have such a well constructed team fight from team too many cheeseburgers with the Aurelion Soul ult and the Maokai ult over top. So I just think it was the wrong time to make that decision. I don't think he, being the most fed member, should have left the team fight.
Alright, cool. So, last thing here, um, is there any of these teams that just scream winner going into the next game, or you're like, "Yo, we could flip a coin and it'll be 50-50 along the way."
I think it's definitely a coin flip. The team fights were back and forth. The game gold swung back and forth. I think it's definitely a coin flip.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly why you should come back after this short break right here on Risen channel for Draft League. If you need something to Control T, open a new tab to, check out RisenStats.com. Otherwise, we will be right back. Welcome back. Here we are. Game two of Double B's Rejects versus Too Many Cheeseburgers. Arguably the best game of the season, arguably the greatest game ever. I heard Paramount was in talks with some of the members of Risen to develop that match into a feature film, but we'll see how it goes the further we get throughout the evening. Typhoon, Who would you like to play you in the movie?
Ooh.
Pick
Well,
quick because we are in bad.
I would probably say Tom Cruise, but like he's
Okay,
not gonna play
good
that
answer.
role. So
No, he can play you. That sounds good. We
he's
can
an
talk
action
to him.
hero, so
Yeah, no, I
but it's all
mean,
right. It's all right. He could take a step into a different direction. That's all.
yeah, the Risen admins are really powerful. They could easily pull that. So,
True, true.
without hesitation, Yone Rel, Annie Caitlin, uh, there's a little differentiation in our bands. They said no to the soul and no difference from the Cheeseburger Boys. Side selection was the same. Double B's rejects had blue game one. They maintained blue game two. It'll be interesting to see what the Cheeseburger Boys think about using in that last pick. It'll also be interesting to see if Double B's rejects ban Vayne in second rotation.
We're gonna get that Echo early hover. I think it's definitely a solid pick here. They had no answer to it in that pre 15, but here comes the Jarvan now. Obviously, that was the ban that was taken up by the Aurelion, and so the Jarvan going to come out really strong champion, another one of those guaranteed champions that has guaranteed value. Very strong team fight, which Cheeseburgers are executing flawlessly so far at post 25 minutes for the most part. But
Yeah, and just
and
really, like, I mean, if you in a perfect world manage to get Biolinist on this vein again, like that with the Cataclysm, that just sounds like a match made in heaven. So, especially following the Nature's Grasp, or yeah,
I'll be very interested to see if they have an answer for that vein because it was a absolute monster. The vein was very consistent pretty much throughout the entire game. So it'll be very interesting to see if they can respond to that. That's going to be a Vagar lock in, which
and like, I mean, from what I know about Fangoose, like, I don't think he would want to, like, hypothetically match a Vayne. I think he would be very happy just playing the Ornn again and telling his boys, like, don't let Vayne do that, or just ban a second rotation, right? Like, how do you not just ban that second rotation? Am I crazy?
I think that's definitely a good option to look to ban second rotation. It's
Wow.
just it created so many problems, and I was kind of expecting it in the first round bans, to be honest, because Vayne isn't one of those champions that can kind of outplay you in 95% of the time. So a high mastery Vayne will do solid numbers here.
And the
That's gonna
Cassian.
round it off with a Cassidon. That's interesting.
So in
Um,
so let's just go back one step here. Double B's rejects locks the Vigar, locks the Nautilus. In a world where Vayne gets through again, um, the point and click ult is phenomenal. The Vgar baby trap is phenomenal. The Vgar ult is phenomenal. These are all really effective tools to handle popping off single style champion like the Vayne. So I'm curious if they even ban it or not. I'm kind of curious.
I think their current draft definitely has very good answers to the Vayne. But we're starting to see a similar team comp kind of come out here from Cheeseburgers, a somewhat aggressive, engagey style bruiser
Galley.
jungler, a big AoE team fight ult in the Maokai and hyperscaling mid laner with the Cassidon. So they could be looking into a pretty similar team comp, which could spill disaster for DBR if they're not able to capitalize on the early game here as they failed to last game.
Yeah, and the AoE, the lack of AoE from losing the soul seems a little bit scary because they were able to take over so much of the neutral objective regions with that AoE. No more Vayne, they said. Let's not risk it. I respect that. Why not? Um, but I don't know, man. Cassidon is just thinking scary late game. And we know that Too Many Cheeseburgers is willing to get to that late game. I'm so, so curious what we're going to get in the top lane this game because without the vein and without the scaling, it's just like not even a different game. It's just Double B's rejects game.
So
Period.
it's going to be a R5 counter pick for the top lane, most likely here again. So they're definitely looking to play, um, giving a with that top side in mind, giving a lot of resources in draft again to that top side, which it paid them dividends last game. So it definitely would not hurt to do it again here. And we have a Draven hover. That would be quite a switch up here if we get that. But it's going to be a Jinx in the bot lane, likely with that Maokai, and a Draven Nautilus bot lane lock in to counter it. That can be a very, very interesting lane. Double melee supports with a Draven is going to be something to definitely keep an eye on here.
And considering Ubis was just like quietly, wow, look
And
at
a
this team
GP on
come.
the top side blind.
Wow, Fangu 5. I am hyped, bro. Like he said, wow,
If we
the
get this Tryndamere
trend.
lock in, we're getting quite a spicy draft here again. With the blind GP getting recently buffed on the ultimate, definitely could help with that side lane, but it's going to be an Olaf who also is been tearing up solo queue on the patch, so,
Yeah,
especially
and
in the higher elos.
I mean, if you put the Vigor trap down, dot dot dot. If you put the Echo root down, dot dot dot. If the Nautilus ult is going through people, dot dot dot. Like, I really love the idea and seeing what Biolinus was capable of doing in the late game on Vayne. This Olaf is a scary, scary, scary idea. Um, Holy man. I don't know who's anchoring the pick ban ideas on the side of Too Many Cheeseburgers, but I really like their team comp development as the draft goes along. Uh,
I
yeah,
think it's
man.
uh I think it's very it kind of flips the style of their last draft on its head a little bit. With a Ziggs Maokai, you want to play for a lot of bot pressure and a lot of plating potentially.
Yeah,
But now
but
you're
then I
kind
could
and
I could like devil's advocate you by saying like, well, they picked Vayne top into an orange, so you know you're gonna have priority up there. So why not just you don't even need a like you can play towards the bot, yeah, but if you go use that priority to go get the heralds and bring all of those down to the Ziggs, then automatically like Vayne gets prio, automatically Ziggs gets prio, and then Aurelion Sol is a wave clearing menace. Like their comp idea was genius. Talk like go man, talk to me.
yeah, fortunately, I mean they got the three of those components from that entire draft banned out. But I think having an Olaf counter that's the counter pick into the Gangplank. So you're definitely going to need to look to get value on that because Gangplank will outscale you very quickly if you do not push your lead on Olaf. Like Olaf maybe have some pretty strong strengths in the late game, but GP can essentially one shot your backline
Mm.
in the blink of an eye.
But then
So it'll
again,
be a very interesting and I think a very top important matchup here
the
yet
interest
again.
yeah, but the interesting aspect again, like I agree with you. I'm just devil advocating for a good conversation here. But like, who's the backline that Gangplank is focusing besides the Jinx?
No, you do make a good point there. And also, just because that top lane might become a very important lane with the Olaf GP being a very versatile matchup here, you also have the Draven Nautilus in bot lane. So you're going to have a very high kill pressure lane in the bot lane with a maniac Echo jungle that likes to just gank every lane on repeat here. So
Yeah,
it's going to be quite, if there's not fireworks here in the first 10 minutes of the game, it's going to be really interesting and
Twitch.
surprising.
I'm curious from Twitch chat, Timeless. Uh, Anybody else out there? I'm curious what you guys think. Twitch chat. I almost said Biolinus, but that's just a Vayne player from last game. Twitch chat. Is this an invade angle? If you are either team, is this an invade angle? Yes or no? You, Typhoon, let's answer on the count of three, okay? Ready? One, two, three, yes.
Yes.
Oh my god, bro, let's invade. We
I
saw what
believe
Echo
DBR.
did.
Yeah,
You're
I
going
think
DBR?
DBR.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Echo's got a strong level 1 with that passive. Veigar can be
true.
pretty solid at level 1 if starting Cage, which obviously makes it a little harder to lane, but Draven Nautilus, everyone knows Nautilus is level 1 is insane. And Draven gets one kill and he's to the moon.
You
And
know,
the GP is kind of the only one that's like I'm not really too sure about, but you look at the other side. I think that's the bigger tell here is that Jarvan level 1. Jarvan's an early game gank champ for sure, but level 1 he's pretty rough. to play. Jinx level 1 is abysmal, and Kassadin level 1, like, so it's more the weaker level 1 with an engaged support, as opposed to just having really good level 1s in general on the side of DBR.
But like, keep in mind who is like one of the number one level one champions in the game. He's just not jungling this game. He's playing top. That man,
It's that
double
Olaf.
axe Olaf himself. So like, there's a world where you and me are thinking invade. There's a world where every member of the other team is thinking invade. There's a world where almost everybody in Twitch chat is thinking invade. So how do you not just stack a bush?
I think if you're too many cheeseburgers, I think that's definitely the strategy you should go for here, level 1. Just because if that Olaf gets ahead at all, he can easily run over the game, and we saw that Biolinus definitely has the wheelhouse to carry games like that.
And who do you
So
put? Let Maokai get hooked. You put Maokai in front and then throw the Jarvan E down. Jarvan E with the Jinx level 1 kind of sounds nice. I mean, it's not like
yeah, I would
great,
say
but
so. I
not
think it'd be more valuable than starting any kind of like damage or anything for
just
Jarvan, like starting Q or W. So I think that would
right,
definitely
yeah.
be the option.
And then throw
I
it,
think the
yeah.
Maokai is definitely your sacrifice. I mean, it's support tank with large AoE CC, so you don't really need the gold to be useful or the XP even. So like, I mean, if you do end up coming late to lane because you die early or whatever, it's definitely less brutal.
I'll tell you though, like honestly, Too Many Cheeseburgers doesn't have like the best selection of champions that want to be hooked,
That's true.
like at all. I mean, later levels, like Jarvan later, fine, whatever, he can flag and drag. Like Olaf, fine later. But level 1, I do not want to be hooked if I'm any of those people.
That's true.
I said
I
people
agree
like
with that
Maokai's
because
human.
they don't really have any way to get out of there if they get hooked. So
You just stack? You just gonna let them walk in and just go to the top side? What are we thinking? You're our team captain. Tell me what you think.
oof. This is a tough angle from both sides because if they do stack, you run the risk of Olaf just running through your team, but you also potentially put that Draven ahead. You facilitate that Veigar to scale quickly, so it becomes a very very if this then this type of situation. So it makes it a very difficult decision either way.
Come on,
I
chat
think
with me.
I would be
Invade,
the Nautilus invade.
invade, invade.
Yeah,
Me
I'm
and
on the
chat want it.
Nautilus invade train here.
Yeah, are you
Nautilus
okay?
Q hook. I think he should just, even if he thinks it's 5 stacked, even if he sees it's 5 stacked, I think he still should throw the hook in
What if
just
Sloth
cuz.
brings Vigar Baby Trap uh to follow up the Nautilus and just like, you know, doesn't do isn't the happiest boy level 1 in lane, but all of a sudden invade is nuts. Invade is
Um
nuts.
I th- I th- it's a very interesting level 1 based on who takes what summoners, because you could also get a stun from the Echo, which if works, it is a very very strong invade, but if it doesn't, now you're very very behind on the clear.
And and right before we go to break, Twitch chat, please put in who you think is going to win. DBR on the blue side, Gangplank, Echo, Vigar, Draven, and Nautilus, or Too Many Cheeseburgers, Olaf, Jarvan, Jinx, Kassadin, and Maokai. Typhoon, who do you think is going to win?
I personally like DBR's draft this time. They definitely have a lot more scaling and team fight power than they did, or in comparison to the enemy team, than they did last game. So it'll be interesting. But I'm
Well,
going with DBR.
sweet. Don't go any further, Twitch chat. We will be right back literally in a second or two. Thanks. Welcome back, Twitch chat. Thanks for waiting. Told you it'd only be a second or two. We are going to find out very shortly if we have a stack the bush and invade. It looks like we're gonna have one of each. Typhoon, what do you think?
So both we have a potential 5v5 on our hands here in the bot river. Look, the cheeseburgers are definitely more committed to it. So, and there's chicken using that bubble, and that's gonna reveal them, I believe. So they're gonna disperse anyway. The 5 point coming out afterwards anyway from DBR. So it's gonna end up with no action, unfortunately for us.
Yeah, I feel like they like dipped their toes in the pool and it was too cold and they didn't even like try to warm up to it. They just left. They're just sitting on the pool deck. Come in, come in, swim. We all wanted to go swimming together and watch you guys fight. Me and Twitch chat and Typhoon and Wookie, we just wanted to see you guys fight at level 1.
So we got
But
Panda Bow standing in the front brush, but it's gonna get immediately spotted out by the Maokai sapling, looking
yeah,
for a lane cheese. So chicken gonna be starting on that blue buff. Jarvan on the wolves camp actually to hide that start spot. Junglers pathing away from each other should mean some cross map plays here, especially from the gank heavy Echo style as well as a Jarvan in general.
keep an eye on where Divis throws the first Q, manages to get the whole wave, just past Angus.
So Divis is committing onto Fengu already for some damage here. Gonna ultimately win the trade. Nothing much more though here respecting the Olaf level 1.
Yeah, I like the start from Nosa. He went Raptors into Gromp into blue. Probably he would have liked to look for the mid gank, but Sloth said, I'm playing Vigar and I will see you around 28 minutes. I don't plan on doing anything with anybody.
Fangu starting to win out on trades here on the top side is going to make it a little more interesting now, especially with the Jarvan pathing towards it.
Yeah, Echo pathing down. We saw what Chicken is willing to do on this Echo, and that means... Oh,
And Divis and Fangu trading heavily. Divis going to end up getting killed here. A solo kill to a GP at level 3. That's going to hurt top lane a lot. The flash burned as well from Divis. Fangu winning the 1v1 on that blind GP for first blood.
listen, if you're in chat, that means you play League of Legends and you felt that one in your belly. Oh, man, you want that one back if you're Divis. You want that one back if you're Olaf. You know you're going to try and get something back later in this game. That is one of those you feel woo, just past the butt cheek hair of swollen. My Lanta. So, back on track here in regards to Chicken's gank prowess. He full cleared into basically ganking every single lane and going down like about 12 CS to get every single member on his team a kill or two. It was pretty impressive. So let's keep an eye out what he does on what he does after this scuttle. Vigar potentially in a position to look like good bait for a gank, which would be really beneficial if you're the Echo, if to set up a counter gank.
Echo going to drop a deep ward, but Jarvan's going to be the first one to look to play mid here. And I think if you're DBR, I think you prefer this 2v2 here.
There's a big fight here in the top lane here.
The Echo Veigar. But going down in top lane, Diva's going to get his solo kill back. Here, he popped the ghost and just started to run down the gangplank on the frozen wave. It's a good laning here from the Olaf to regain that somewhat even state. And now Panda Boat looking for something here on a roam level 3. Nothing going to come of it. And as we said in draft, the game is really, there's not many kills or going on or anything here yet, but a lot of movement around the map and a lot of potential plays being called off for the farming choice instead.
Yeah, you know, after a game, now that you say that, and after a game like game 1, seeing what Echo did to everybody in all the different lanes, there is the world where he had a pop-off game, and there's also the world where too many cheeseburgers like watch the heck out for this guy, and like everybody's on their toes because we're about at that mark where he had like 15 kills last game, that 5 minute mark where he had about 50 kills last game. So we're coming up to that mark again. So we're not even seeing a remnants of what we had last game. Maybe it was a pop off match. Maybe people are on their toes. It'll be interesting to see as we develop. Ooh. Another thing though, I did want to mention that Panda Boat and Chicken, as a jungle support duo, play very well together.
Yes, there was a lot of roaming. I think the roaming will decrease given you have a Draven in lane now as opposed to a Jhin. So you have a much more carry direct 1v9 potential from the Draven than you do the Jhin. But I don't think that's anything to ignore because I think Panda Boat is definitely enjoys roaming and gets a lot of value out of it.
Yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board.
Diva's gonna
So
face check Fangu, land the Q, and take a trade here. Ultimately being a positive trade.
coming up on just again past that 5 minute mark. Divis is sitting on a 15 CS lead, just over that 3 wave. Echo about a camp ahead. The hook lands on Biolinus with Chicken walking down. Biolinus quickly on his way out.
Violinist gets ignited here, ults out again here, and he's going to have to use the flash, but Chicken going to use his as well to try to follow up and execute. Violinist having to burn flash here and likely the teleport in exchange for Chicken's flash and Panda Boat's ignite.
Keep your eyes again, Twitch chat. Keep your eyes on Nosa's Jarvan. Does he go straight to the Herald, which isn't up for about another half a minute, or
Dragon
does he back?
There's Dragon being started up here. The bot lane of Dashes and Swollen looking to move up to potentially contest, but they're going to call it off with Sloth having arrived to that dragon prior. Divis has gotten that wave in with Fangu under tower. It's unlikely that you'd get a dive here. The potential was there, but with Gangplank can clear waves so quickly, as well as having Orange to get that little buffer of HP, it's tough to pull off.
Yeah, and Dashes did use the Super Mega Death Rocket on the Dragon, just maybe to check out what was going on over there, or to help out the clear, I'm guessing.
Violinist has hit that mid game now where he can pretty much just trade on cooldown with Sloth, and most of the time win that trade assuming he doesn't get stunned up. So he needs to really push that strength now that he has into a lead. A ton of wards here in the top side, by the way.
Yeah, I really like the... I'm curious what you think. What do you think about the evolution of bringing the Vigar out over the Malzahar?
I think the Malzahar's value is dropped. We got a fight here, actually. His Chicken is going to get the stun proc, but Divis is going to pop the ult to protect it. So it's ultimately going to be ult for ult, Ragnarok for the callback here. I think that's going to heavily favor the side of DBR because that takes pressure off that Gangplank. And as I say that, Divis goes to trade in heavily with Fangu yet again. Looking a little bit precarious, but it's going to ultimately be positive.
We're really getting a sense of how overwhelming the Olaf can be in lane. His ability to just run at you after connecting one, and even if he's lucky, two Qs.
Gank here now. Top Divis has a 2v1 situation. He's gonna trade the kill for Chicken, and he's gonna try to walk it out, but Fangu is gonna use that pistol to put him away for a 1-for-1. Ultimately, a net win here for Divis as he gets the 1-for-1 on the enemy jungle, and now Nosa is gonna get the flash away from Fangu, all while the bot lane is getting free plating here on the bot side. So all around on the map, ultimately being positive here for too many cheeseburgers.
I'll tell you, man, as soon as that like 6-0 lead that Chicken had on Echo, was evened out from too many cheeseburgers, it's looked like a different team. They needed like the first 8 minutes of game one to like get their feet under them, and these guys have been cooking since then, man. Cooking. This
That was a
Olaf scary. The Jarvan again is like we're seeing why they had a ban at game one.
too many cheeseburgers. Getting the flash on that GP makes it a lot more playable again here. Maokai ult coming out here though now in bot lane. Pandaboat gonna tank it for Ubis, and nothing's gonna come of it. Just to zone out the enemy bot lane here off the wave. Chicken
So
on the bot side could be looking to dive this bot lane here now, especially with no Maokai ult. They're
yeah,
gonna sniff it
Echo.
out and send Biolinus down, and Chicken's gonna have to run away here. So a good reactive roam here from Biolinus to protect his bot lane from a dive.
Yeah, earlier we were speaking about the evolution of the Vigar over the Malzahar. I mean, do you think that was the angle? Wow.
A huge hook coming in from Pandaboat. They're going to drop the full combo on a Swollen. You got the ult come from top lane. Ubis cashes in on that Draven. That's going to be a big kill swing over with the GP ult getting an assist gold here will help him up there as well. But now Dashes has to completely back off that tower, and that's free plating here for the side of DBR on that Draven. This Draven is going to be a menace now, cashing in.
Yeah, he's gonna have some serious gold. Keep an eye on his inventory down there. Let's see what he purchases after that one. What was that? 2 plates plus the cash in.
The cash in was 680 gold, so he effectively got 2 kills and 2 plates. So approximately 800 gold swing off that play just on bot lane alone. That's going to allow the Essence Reaver purchase, and now he has a huge snowball potential in that bot lane. Rift Herald getting dropped mid here from Nosa. Sloth kind of walked up, watched it get placed, and walked away. Bit of an interesting interaction between the two players there.
They're trying to call just for the dragon setup, but it didn't even look like Chicken was that interested in the dragon in the first place. He was just pathing up to his wolves.
So Shelly will get that charge off, giving some more plating into the Kassadin to try to swing him in that matchup now, especially with the bot lane being so difficult with the Draven. Violin is going to pop out the bush and try to assassinate Sloth, but Chicken's there to help, and he flashes into the cage. A bit of a misplay there, and now tons of summoners being used, as well as the Maokai ult to help the Jarvan catch up. Chicken's going to bounce out of the Jarvan ult to kill Biolinus, but Sloth on the backside of the play is going to get smited by Nosa. But now the bot lane, the Fed Draven's here to clean it up. Chicken and Ubis clean up the last 2 kills in that fight. It started as a pretty solid pick play here from Too Many Cheeseburgers, but DBR having the extra gold in the pocket of Draven as well as the tempo advantage over that Jinx is going to cause them to win out on that jungle skirmish.
Yeah, the lead is just creeping in the direction of Double B's rejects. Although neutral objective control is maintained by Nosa on this Jarvan. Divis here
Divis looking for an invade here on Chicken, and Fangu's going to be there to stop, but Divis is just completely ignoring him. He's just going to solo kill Chicken for the shutdown, and he is now running amok in the jungle. He's going to pop ult and continue to go into the 2v1. He takes down Fangu. He is absolutely insane here in the jungle, going into the 1v3 essentially, and coming out with a double kill, blue buff, and lane priority. He gets a shutdown off Chicken, and that is a huge play from Divis, essentially out of nothing.
With the Herald spawning, Jarvan already up there because of the scuttle. Like, I mean, this is maybe a tower or 2 tower swing off of those kills. I mean, he was basically kissing the wall of DBR spawn on that play. Sloth, careful now, buddy.
Olaf gonna recall with 27 CS difference.
I mean, speaking of 20-something CS difference, look across the mid and the top. The solo laners are complete, like, I don't want to say menace, but I mean, they are completely powerful in this game and last game.
Even the death off of Biolinus didn't really set him back, too, which as a Kassadin into a mage it can be very difficult to farm early. Being a melee champion with essentially no mobility pre-6 and very conditional mana hungry mobility at 6, so it's very impressive that he's able to maintain a CS lead, which is definitely going to be a big backbone that they're going to have to fall on now that Ubis is starting to run away with a huge lead in bot lane over his lane
Tell you,
opponent.
man, this Divis guy is like anchor that you can throw on the Titanic to avoid it from sinking. As the dive
So there's
doesn't need to
4
happen.
on DBR members on the bot side, still going to commit the Maokai and the Jarvan ult, but ultimately just to get killed by the Veigar. And Pandabo lands a huge hook onto Dashes, causing him to have to flash and ghost away. Swollen also getting traded on, and they're going to end up losing only the one, but they also lose first turret there. Definitely could have spilled much more disaster for CheeseBurgers than it did. But they look to be a little bit out of sync there on that engage with the Maokai and Jarvan all coming through, but Jarvan kind of just zoned off by himself and just getting 100 to 0.
Yeah, last game to see Divis take that last pick, or sorry, Violinist take that last pick and smash people with the Vayne, and then I feel like DBR picked to stop the Vayne. They took the Gangplank, they took the Gangplank to potentially R wherever Vayne is doing stuff. They took the Nautilus point and click ult. They took the Veigar point and click ult to try and stop this, and then they didn't even go nice hook.
Pandabo gonna land a hook on the Violinist. Not gonna be too much though, as he's safe under that tower.
And then they proceeded to not even pick a comp that like you really want to point and click stop somebody in their tracks.
Div is gonna ult under tower, and it's gonna Fangu gonna flash away immediately. So ultimately a positive trade for Divis, burning no sums, only the ult just to get GP to flash away. That's a big flash to get to lose as well.
Right? Like think about if you're Vayne and you're playing into the Veigar and the Nautilus and stuff. And then think about if you're an Olaf playing into these things. You're just like having the time of your life.
I think a big factor that they didn't consider is that we're gonna get an engage here from Nosa onto the GP, who has no flash to get out of that cage, and it's just gonna be a solo kill for Nosa on the gangplank. Fangu dies solo to the Jarvan due to that immediate punish of the no flash gangplank.
The resources are coming, Typhoon. They're here. Jinx is there. Olaf is with the wave.
There's 4 members of CheeseBurgers on that top side. They're going to get the tier 2 turret, which is a ton of gold and map pressure here, especially on that top side with Baron spawning very shortly. But in exchange, Chicken's going to secure the dragon on the opposite side of the map. Ultimately, still, I think I would take the net positive here as CheeseBurgers.
Yeah, and I mean we really want to see him blow up in the middle of the map here, obviously. But that is going to be a huge detriment for DBR because Olaf has already been a giant boil in their side. You do not want to give that man any more room than he already needs.
One big factor is that Rift Herald was just dropped on that top side, and they now don't have it to punch open that mid tier 1 turret, and they also don't have the siege power that they had in their last comp with the Aurelion Soul and the Ziggs, even the Vayne with Static Shiv. So it's going to be
Exactly,
much
yeah.
harder to push that open. Fangu about to face check Divis here, and Divis is going to immediately run on him, possibly Stride Breaker, and it's going to be, by the looks of it, a pretty easy solo kill for Divis yet again. I think if you're Fangu, I think you just hold your ult there and accept it.
You can't blame him. I would like, oh man, you're
He was
wondering
probably
how long
panicking.
did Diva sit in there.
In exchange, though, there is going to be the mid tier 1 cracked open for DBR, so at least getting something in exchange, and definitely a pretty important objective. Now Sloth getting traded on by Violinist, but he is going to end up walking away here with no more room with that tower there. This Olaf is just absolutely
I don't know how you stop him.
controlling.
I don't know what to do.
there is no stopping him when he's CC immune, so it's just tough.
That's what
It's
I'm
just a
saying.
tough battle. You
And
have to pretty
that's what
much
I was
burst
saying
him with the
before.
Draven at this rate.
Double B's rejects picked a comp to stop the Vayne, the air quotes Vayne. We're put in the idea of a Vayne champ there, and then they picked Olaf to reply. It doesn't even. There's no overlap.
So the
There's no
Hull Breaker
overlap.
going to come in from the Olaf. That's going to put even more side lane pressure and just more 1v1ing and 2v1ing for Divas on the side lanes. But a big note to look at is that Draven now is IE and Essence Reaver. So he is going to be pumping out damage if he can get there to do the damage in team fights. So it's a tale of two carries here in this game between the Draven being very fed and the Olaf being very fed on the other side of the map.
But do you have faith in Double B's rejects to be able to peel for the Draven?
We're getting a Baron call, so hold that thought. But GP ult going to come out here, and looks like they're going to back off for now. Panda Boat and Chicken walking up into the area. Looks like they're just going to disengage off of Baron. But I believe it'll be very difficult to peel the Draven when you have a fed Olaf running at you. The one saving grace being he built Hullbreaker, second item, so that means he's going to want to prefer to be on side lanes anyway. But otherwise, you have the Kassadin who can R over the Veigar cage. You have the Maokai who can W past the Veigar cage. So Veigar cage is going to be very hard to peel off of. The Jarvan has such quick and snappy gap close. There's essentially no peel off of the Echo or Gangplank. So it's pretty much all on Panda Boat and Sloth to keep Ubis alive to carry team fights.
That's what I'm saying. It's a scary,
They're looking for a play mid here, and a stun into the one-shot. Ubis going to pick up the kill. Chicken with a beautiful stun onto Dash's under turret, and Ubis pumping out the damage on the Jinx. So that's a huge kill here because that gives a man advantage on the top side of the map.
There we go.
A hook in, Nosa going to be forced to flash, but immediately Cataclysm back in. Swollen throws the Maokai ult over the top. The Panda Boat stuck in the fight, and here comes the Olaf. He's going to take down the Panda Boat. Ubis is now down, dying to the Olaf at that. Violinist chasing down on Sloth now. Gets stunned up by the cage, but continues the chase. Chicken now with a stun. And this could be a Jinx Rocket just missing topside or above. But this could very well be the straw that broke the camel's back. Divis ghosting for Sloth now. Even without the ult is confident to just run straight in. That's another kill. And we have a potential Baron call here. Chicken and Fangu now looking to 2v1 the Divis, who is going back in for the play. No ult, no ghost. And it's going to cost him, and Fangu going to pick up the shutdown. That was a little bit questionable from Divis to try to fight that back, but they will get a dragon to put Mountain Soul Point on the table for too many cheeseburgers. A big key factor, I think, of that team fight is the Draven getting run down immediately. Divis knowing the target he needs to hit and just immediately gravitating right to him and just assassinating him out of the fight, I think, is a huge reason why they were able to win that team fight early that hard.
Honestly, the follow-up that Jinx Rocket, the follow-up that Jinx Rocket can provide Divis,
we're getting a
just happening as I'm speaking.
Baron call, actually. DBR is starting the Baron. They're
Maybe
burning it down quite quick
right?
with that 3-item Draven. We're potentially going to get a 4v5. Olaf is way behind the play. It's going to be taken by Ubis. Nosa is in really deep. He's going to get stunned up and killed by Chicken. And now Swollen and Violinist are on the run. Swollen dies. A hook in from Panda Boat's going to continue the play. But here comes the Olaf again. Violinist takes down Ubis. And now the Olaf and the Kassadin are online chasing down. Now even Dash is running down Veigar. They're trying to wipe away that entire Baron buff. Gangplank is the only one to survive. What a swing of events.
Okay. The conversation is, all right, we got an Olaf problem. We should have just left earlier. I mean, it might be a little too late once that eye opener just occurs, but the next fight will be, I think, a little bit more revealing. I mean, they won the fight. Olaf wasn't there, but they won oh man, what is this plan for this Olaf?
They
This
won the
man is a
initial
menace.
engage. They won the initial engage. Obviously, Olaf not being there makes it very easy to do so.
Right. No
But
matter how we
if he's
spin it,
there,
Olaf's not there. So that's
right,
why it went that way, right?
and they better figure something out quick here because that Mountain Soul is rapidly approaching. So they need to
Oh
get
god.
the items on here or something.
Yes.
Diva's potentially getting picked. Chicken and Ubis looking to take him down. But even the 3-item Draven just barely touches Divas here.
And like we spoke about earlier, the peel potential for Ubis is just like so hard to find because Olaf just runs through it. It has nothing to do with his teammates. It has nothing to do with his team comp. Olaf is just running through these things, and it's preventing any form of peel. Like his, there's been more than one fight where his positioning is safe, it's smart, and then all of a sudden Olaf just runs through everything. It's insane to watch. So that's why I'm stating, what is the Olaf plan? Like, just hope that he isn't there on the next fight and leave sooner.
The big thing that will help the situation is GP hitting 3 items, but here we go. Diva's going to pop the Ragnarok immediately and just run down Sloth. It's not even fair, really. And Swollen going to engage now on Panda Boat in the jungle. The ult comes out. Biolinus looking to assassinate Ubis, but he's going to take a lot of damage for it. And now
Olaf.
Nosa is in deep.
Watch Olaf.
Meanwhile, Biolinus, but now Divis shows up to the fight on the bottom side. Nosa ends up dying, but Ubis is in response. That's a double kill over to Divis, as well as a kill for Dashes, and that's a 4 for 1, excuse me. And now Chicken in some trouble too. Biolinus gonna have to walk out on his ult here.
Ooh.
The Echo ult back in, trying to survive anyway, but Divis with the unofficial triple and the ace is gonna be a huge swing here for too many cheeseburgers, and they're gonna potentially look to end the game by the looks of it, but I don't know if they can with that Nautilus Draven coming up in 10 seconds. I think they're going to look to inhib back here. Huge play, though.
Yeah, maybe just inhib him back. Maybe just go towards Cassidy with the dragon spawning. That's soul, right? Yeah.
So Mountain Soul here in 45 seconds. It's being pinged here.
I'm curious if they back first or if they're just going to try to press this lead. Olaf not even leaving.
It would be slightly risky, in my opinion, to not take the recall because that Olaf has to be close to that next item as well as the Jinx.
Maybe that's why he's clearing.
He must be close enough where he's taking some extra farm and then recalling. But he is on top side, and frankly, GP is going to have a way bigger impact from the top side than the Olaf, even with just the ults. He also has TP available, but the risk of TPing his GP here is
backing now.
Olaf ending the game. So Diva's going to back off and look to run there. Can they contest the soul, or should they give it? Biolinus and Panda Boat trading a little bit back and forth. And now the fight is going to be turned on to the Maokai ult to disengage. Panda Boat lands a hook that he might regret, but he's tanky enough to walk it out, so it's ultimately just going to be a take. Biolinus looking for the rundown, though. Nosa quickly falling behind. Chicken following. Olaf way behind the play, but you got to watch out for him. The Jinx rocket and a double kill over to Biolinus on the rundown. They ran him down pretty much from their own blue buff. That is a very far chase. They might be looking for Fangu here too. Biolinus is going to go in on Fangu under tower, and it's ultimately going to not be successful, but he is still going to walk away, and Divis essentially pinning down the Veigar, Nautilus, and now the GP by himself.
I really like that flash play from Biolinus saying, you know, listen, the game's going to be over in about 5 minutes anyway. I won't need my flash at that point. There we go.
And now Biolinus TP's in. Divis and Biolinus doing work here in this game too. And they're looking to end it now, continuing to shove waves. They're going to rotate onto that bot inhib turret and take that bottom inhibitor 4 members standing strong here on that bot side. Davis being an absolute monster on the Olaf, absorbing so much pressure right now by himself.
Keep an
The
eye on
wave's not
Nature's
quite
Graph.
getting synced up. Biolinus is going to get stunned up, and he's going to get shut down by the Echo. Meanwhile, on the other side, Davis is just going to run down Ubis and walk away. Panda is going to land a crucial hook that could turn this fight. The Jarvan ult into knockup with the Maokai over top. It's going to allow dashes to get a kill and start resets, but it is going to go away, and ultimately a 2 for 2. But that's going to heavily favor DBR. And Dash is going to get a free pick basically under the tower here.
Yeah.
And now it's definitely going to be a really tough defend. Panda going to hook into Nosa, but this could be game right here. Dash is just pumping out damage. That's another kill. Nosa going to collect that one. Sloth going to trade one back to Nosa. Swollen's going to die. Dashes is 200 HP and Ghost away. Definitely fumbling it there a little bit on that dive, but it's going to be a good defend here from Sloth. And now there's a TP coming. The Draven ult misses. Veigar looking to continue the chase.
What a wild 90 seconds. What in... Holy man, we're going to get another wild 90 seconds as the Nash is spawning. The question is, does DBR have what it takes to, like, leave their base? You would think no. But based on what's happening on the mini-map, you would think, okay, here they come. So, I mean, hold your breath a little bit longer, Twitch chat. Take a deep old breath here, Typhoon, because there's going to be another play-by-play cast erupting in about a second or two. Biolinus committed.
Trading. Biolinus looking to get a pick on Chicken, and the damage coming from Kassadin has scaled up, but now he's stuck in the middle of 3 people. But it does not matter. Davis lives for these moments, and he's just running down Fangu, and there's just no way you can stop him. He is unseeable and unkillable right now. Chicken gonna get a good kill back on Biolinus, but now Davis stuck in a 3v1. Chicken looking to get out from Swollen, and we have a 2-front fight here. Swollen gonna take down Chicken in the end. Davis still messing around here in the top lane, 3v1. Nosa gonna get the flash out Sloth and then immediately Cataclysm in. Panda throws the hook. Nosa looking to get out, but here comes the Maokai ult from behind. Davis gonna take down Ubis. Nosa gonna collect it. And another kill. Davis collecting the Nautilus. And that's gonna be the ace for Dashes and the game. A huge swing of fights here for Too Many Cheeseburger. They're going to walk it down. An absolutely massive performance from Davis on that Olaf, as well as Biolinus on the Kassadin in that late game. Huge win here for Too Many Cheeseburgers after a bit of a rocky start. That solo kill on the top side for GP.
Oh my gosh, dude. That was probably the most fun pair of League of Legends games I've watched in a while, and I went to LCS finals, so that was awesome. Olaf, of course, topping out the damage chart like by close to an infinite amount. Then it's a close running between second, Gangplank, Veigar, and Kassadin, all tight on that third mark. Echo coming in at fourth, Jinx at fifth. But I mean, from top to bottom, those were 2 awesome games to watch. I'm curious who's organizing draft, if it's a one-man or a team conversation. Give me your big thoughts and your big questions.
I think the biggest thing here is Too Many Cheeseburgers solo laners did amazing work here in this game and the previous one to hold it down and eventually come out on top. So I think their solo lanes are definitely paying them dividends, and they're getting the resources in draft and definitely making it worth it. The big questions I have here is why the DBR decided to draft a comp all around this Vayne top lane that stomped them in the previous game, only to ban it second phase and not have to play against it anyway. Makes it a really questionable draft choice, especially because they committed the Veigar, they committed the Nautilus. Both of these champions are pretty solid in general, but definitely the Veigar definitely did not seem to provide as much value as that Malzahar did.
Yeah, Twitch chat recognized too many cheeseburgers, or as I like to call them, the cheeseburger boys, is winning in 8 minutes. That, I mean, they were really fun to watch. Their team comp was really effective. Violinist is a beast. Divis is a beast. Nosa, the silver jungler, just doing all silver junglers. Let me confirm that in Risen Draft League crowd. Um, that was a really big win for Too Many Cheeseburgers too. They were 1-2. That puts them at 2-2 on the season. We don't have, let's see. Yeah, we don't have records from other teams. So they were already that line on the middle of the pack. They had two teams 3-0, one team 2-1, and they were 1-2. So this win really keeps them secure in the top 4 position, and their division has 6 teams. So huge win for them. Huge win.
It's definitely a huge win. It's gonna potentially push them up into a tie here for third. So it's definitely a very important win to take, especially against an opponent that is 0-3. So you might have dropping this game could be one of the worst games to lose, because you would still have to play against the other more winning teams that could be a lot stronger, and picking up a win on a lower team to try to climb back into that very top group is very important.
Yeah. Um all right. Okay. Cool. So, without further ado, let me run through a couple things. Congratulations to Too Many Cheeseburgers. You guys honestly put on a freaking show. Double B's Rejects, thank you for being a part of that show. You guys, that echo was nuts. Chicken, if you are sub, dude, you are forced to be reckoned with. Definitely sign up for the league. Ubis, way to show up. As always, I would love to be in chat, because I know Panda is one heck of a shot caller, and Sloth and Fangu are just absolute staples in the league. You guys are, man, honestly, all 10 of you rock and rolled. Do not forget to check out risenstats.com if you are listening to me right now. Just hold control, press T, risenstats.com. Let's spike some numbers real quick in that minute. Hit like, hit subscribe. Typhoon, can you give somebody that's listening right this second a bit of life advice? I will demonstrate. Look both ways before you cross the street. What do you got?
Uh, I would say probably don't don't give out your password or login info on the internet, and also play Olaf as Giga Chad as Divis.
Those are great.
It's LP advice.
Without further ado, honestly, for both of us, we thank you. We couldn't have done this without the team behind the scenes, Wookie Monster, and the rest of the Risen production. Thank you, everybody, and have a great week. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. Stay cool.